I want to describe what we're looking at.
Okay,
we're looking at a completely soggy rug that several days ago.
Just yesterday.
Yesterday. How
Yesterday,
high?
The water covered my shoes. By the time I got here, the water was out in the parking lot. I got the pictures of that too.
Let's see where it was leaking from. We're drying it out here with this fan as much as possible.
Oh yeah, because they left it. But it originally came out the toilet.
Oh, this toilet?
Yep, that toilet.
Okay.
Yep, and it just ran and ran and ran.
So it came out of the toilet tank?
No, it came out of the toilet bowl.
So, but somebody told me that this wasn't sewage, that it was just water.
It was water, but it came out of the toilet bowl.
Do you fear that it might have been sewage water?
Yeah, the first time around it was. It was dirty. It was ridiculous. Yes, and we seen it because when we called the maintenance, they got here about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we were watching it. We were watching it, and all he could do was he would come in here with the wet vac, suck it out of the toilet, go empty the wet vac, and by the time he came back, it was pouring again. And that's all he could do. All he could do until like the other maintenance men came to help him, which was about 3:30 in the morning, and they finally shut off the water, and it was all floating, nasty ass brown water everywhere.
Do you remember the date?
Mm-hmm. Actually, the first time was 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. So the nasty ass brown water, do you remember the date on that?
It was on the 29th
of
last month.
August.
August, yes.
Okay, so now this, about 3 weeks later, started how many days ago, this particular round?
This started like four days ago, and it has been flooding daily ever since.
Okay, so did it come from the same toilet?
Came from the same toilet.
Now somebody told me, I think it was Renee, that it had something to do with a tree.
Oh yeah, the tree.
The cause of it.
Right. The tree, which I believe is this tree because there ain't too many trees else around here. The roots from the tree has burst through the pipes. And
you believe that?
Oh, I know that because I seen it. The first time when it first flooded 2 years ago, I had water everywhere and couldn't figure out where it was coming from. Okay, and so they kept sending people out here. They were like snaking the toilet, didn't help. I had water still everywhere. So I called a plumber myself from the city. The plumber came out here. He did all his little tests and laying on the floor and listening to this stethoscope thing. And he finally brought something called a sea snake, which is a snake with the camera on the end, that he shot down my toilet. And we had a big, pretty, crystal clear monitoring screen, and we watched it go down the tube. And we came to something that looked like that. And he said, "You see those?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Those are tree roots." And you could see around the pipe where it was busted in and the dirt had fell in, but the tree roots had tissue and stuff stuck all on it. He said, "That's what's causing the backup because those roots are grabbing a hold of tissue, blocking it, and it's backing the water up." He said, "They're going to have to replace the pipes." I asked him, I said, "Well, would you tell my manager that, you know?" And he was like, "Sure, because that's what's going to have to be done, or else it's not going to be what's going to keep, continue to do that." He went and told my manager, and then he came back and told me, well, I did tell him. He wasn't too accepting of it, of what needed to be done, but I did tell him.
The manager wasn't.
Right. And so after he left and the water was still flooding, I told him, I said, well, the plumber said you need to replace them pipes. He said, no, they just want a high-paying job. That's not what's wrong.
This was the first time.
Yes, this was 2 years ago. Right.
So in those 2 years, they haven't done anything about the tree roots?
As long as it's not
CHP,
flooding.
I understand CHP is a new housing provider here.
Right.
Was this housing provider all along? CHP. So they're responsible for it. They have done nothing to the roots, and this is the cause of this particular spill.